Well, we've just finished our show with Eryn-Faye Frans, and in the show we talked about that there was going to be a coaching moment. And so this is sort of our web exclusive, because Eryn-Faye is going to coach us through some very, well, interesting, maybe taboo, but topics that we need to really talk about and learn from. And Joanna was saying, you know, the one who kind of brought it up was the one when there's illness or cancer and sex. Coach us through, you know, especially those in relationships and marriages. How do you do that well? Because like you said, you were like hunker down and you didn't want anything, but you still have a spouse that desires intimacy.
Yes.
So coach us.
and I desired intimacy too.
Yeah.
It was just painful, right? I had so many things on my body that were hurting that there were a lot of barriers in between me and intimacy, physical intimacy with my husband. So it was really difficult for the two of us, because both of us are very high drive people. We've always been high drive people. That's been one of our big ways to connect with each other. And then of course that kind of went to hell in a handbasket, so to speak, very quickly. But I had the privilege of having coached women and men about going through illness and sex before I went through the experience. So the big thing that did for me is just let me know that what I was going through was normal. And what normal looks like when you're going through illness is that you're going to miscommunicate. You're not going to speak well of it. It's going to be very difficult. Most people have a hard time talking about sex to start with, but then you throw in illness and you're tired and you're on drugs and you're stressed and you're anxious and all of these things. It's just a cauldron ready for just miscommunication. So you just have to give each other a lot of grace, a lot of space. And I just said to Eric, I need you to speak really clearly about what you're missing and what you want. And I will do my best to meet you there. I can't promise that I will, but I just need to know, I need you to feel heard, and I need to know where you are, and I will meet you there. Eric was just ecstatic I was alive. And I didn't quite understand this until just in the last few months, and he said, I didn't care about that. I was just happy that you were there. But in the midst of it, I just felt a lot of guilt because I felt like I wasn't performing as a wife. And I think if people just set their expectations super, super low and talk the best they can, you know, get the skill set building, do the best you can in that time. That is the way you make it.
Because really there are levels of intimacy that you can achieve and reach without all of that. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and we had, our emotional intimacy was off the Richter scale during the time because we were really, you know, making it a priority to connect emotionally. But physical, that's a little tougher when you're sick.
So communication and expectations that are lower or reasonable, but that comes with communication.
That does.
So
Grace.
That does,
grace. Lots of grace.
And communication.
When in doubt, give grace.
That's perfect. Coach us through what to say and not to say to somebody who is going through cancer and illness, because that's a biggie. Because a lot of us are not educated in that. Like, who teaches how to be when somebody's going through illness and how not to be a jerk or say inappropriate
101.
things?
Sure.
Yes. So coach us through that, because you probably know that.
I have a girlfriend who says, you should write a coffee table book on the ridiculous things that Christians say to you when you have cancer. And I think it goes back to what you were talking about on the show. We so desperately want to gloss over it and get to the victory of Christ that we're not willing to just linger in the moment with people. So that's my biggest piece of advice, is just be present. Sit, listen, ask questions. Most people who are going through a really tough time, they want people to talk to about it. So ask questions. What's going on? What are you scared of right now? And then affirming with love. I love you. I don't understand what you're going through. I hate it for you. It radically sucks, but I love you and I'm here.
It radically sucks.
There it is.
Because the truth is, there's so much fear in that moment, in the moment of living through this, that people want to they almost want to like draw away from you, when in fact it's the opposite. They need to all just
Come
sort of
close.
like
Come close. You know, and I was coaching my daughter on this just the other day because she was hanging out with a friend who'd lost his mom, and I said, "What'd you say when he told you?" And she said, "I didn't say anything because I was afraid he didn't want to talk about it." And I'm like, "No, sweetheart, he was being vulnerable. That's where we go in deep for human connection and say, I hate that. I hate that. Don't say I'm sorry."
Because you're not what it's.
I always say to people, well, I stopped blaming you a long time ago. You know what I mean? Just say, that sucks. I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't want that for you.
Eryn-Faye, thank you. I know that we're going to connect with you online, and I know that our viewers are going to want to get in touch with you. So thank you for coaching us through. I think we're going to have a few more questions for you, so I hope you stay close with us here. You're like now one of the girls.
Yes. Yeah, and there are people for us and people who are watching who need to share this with somebody else.
Absolutely.
That this is going to copy, paste, retweet, share.
Yeah.
Because there's people that we all know who need to hear what you've shared with us.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.